Welcome friends, to another video. Yours truly. I realise I've missed my usual weekly video, my apologies for that. I will try and make it up to you. To that effort, I would like to record a quick little one with regards to a bit of a bestiary, if you will, specifically pertaining to the creatures that are connected to the beast. Now, I'm going to take off the jacket for this one because we're going to get into it a little bit. So, the creatures that I speak of, as you may not know, are from the setting of the Lost Warriors. What are the creatures of the beast? I mentioned it before, but I'll go into it more detail now. These creatures are contorted messes, monsters that were once normal animals or people, now contorted into a horrific, eldritch-like abomination. Now, you may wonder in what way they twisted. This can vary a lot. There are, I suppose, 4 major categories that we consider twisted by the beast. These 4 major categories are the vermin, the abominants, the titled, and the, I guess, chosen would be the word I'm looking for. Yes, chosen probably the right word. So, what are the differences? First off, we have the vermin. A good example of the vermin are like the wolf vermin that you may have seen mentioned before, a contorted creature of rat and wolf, blended into a horrifying combination, and then given a mild bit of human intellect and a twisted sense of humour. Another good example are the spiked horrors. These are porcupine-like creatures that have been modified through their mutations to be able to fire those quills at deadly speed. There are others, but those are 2 quite common variants. Vermin are, as the name suggests, diminutive creatures, dangerous in numbers, but on their own, nothing too special. Nothing that'll topple a nation, but nothing to sniff at either. Now, don't get me wrong, in mass numbers they can be a problem, and they can infest everywhere. The sewers, your house, your favourite grocery shop, anywhere. That neighbour you don't like, and you definitely didn't leave rotten food out to try and attract them. Anywhere. They are like rodents. Except these rodents are bigger, meaner, and could kill you. But someone armed and prepared to fight would probably be okay against them. They vary in strength and intellect and cunning, and most certainly ferocity. And the degree of mutation can very much... it tends on the lesser end, but don't get me wrong, it can certainly be a dangerous foe to be up against. Now, quite often these creatures will have a leader. Perhaps one of the vermin are more intelligent, or they follow a abomination or a titled. Rarely, they may be employed by a chosen, but I would stress, a chosen has more handcrafted creatures at his disposal. Other chosen, or perhaps those who aspire to be like them. We will get to those, though, later. Moving on to the abominations. Aberrations, they have many titles, but the consistent thing with these are they are larger, more powerful, dangerous, and quite often made from various components, not just one animal, or maybe even multiple bodies fused together in an unholy rite or accidental mutation. The influence of the beast can be seen more prevalent here. Its power far more obvious. Perhaps the creature has some form of antlers. Very rare, but can happen. But maybe the creature is just far more powerful, generally. More vicious, more able to kill. And this is quite notable because, well, let's just say an abomination is capable of serious damage. Now, these are the creatures that, in number, could kill a small town easily. And in fact, in vast enough numbers, could probably be an army in themselves. Well, don't get me wrong, there's limits to their general powers they could have. Normally it's quite mundane still, but the idea of acidic vomit, corrupted blood, spikes, and just general ferocity of mouths, teeth, tentacles, all these are very likely. Flailing limbs, all very much in the repertoire. If you're thinking like a Chaos Spawn type creature from Warhammer, you've got a good idea of the Abomination. These things are mindless killing machines. Some of them have a little shred of intellect, but I'll be honest with you, they're pretty stupid in most cases. A beast. No pun intended. But these things are not to be laughed at when they are running at you down a hallway, screaming and mewing at you. They will come at you with a ferocity and a complete disregard for their own lives, as they are so warped that they don't care about living or dying. So, well, you don't want to be on the receiving end, as I've said a few times, but especially with these things. They won't at all give you mercy. The vermin, you might be able to convince, maybe even scare off. These things are too stupid and too angry. They'll just kill you. Or you'll kill them first, and live with the horror. Now, there is, of course, various subgroups of these. They vary a lot. The two main subgroups would be a vermin that has bloated in size and power, but is now far more contorted. The other is one that's been created outright. So the Ravager, the creature I showed before, and me in the future will hopefully put a picture of this creature for you. The Ravager, in particular, a collection of bodies fused into one creature. This thing was an abomination from birth, or its rebirth, if you will. A contorted mess that, frankly, well, let's just say it was good the party put the one they found down. It was probably living in suffering. Maybe the souls are still attached, but pray for those souls. Pray they aren't still attached. Not know for certain. Now, the Titled. The Titled are a different breed of beast. There are many. They can come in various power and strength. From something as simple as the editing me, cut this bit out. Something as simple as the Blight of Golgotha, a regenerating crocodilian creature that is not exactly intelligent, but is like a troll. A regenerating hulk of meat, able to rapidly reconstitute itself. Then you have something more like the Horror of Ulbrich. This creature is intelligent, deadly, and even leads vermin to battle. Creatures like this typically resemble a bear with tentacles and the ability to devour people alive, and with various psionic abilities to boot. The more extreme ends of these come in the form of the Despoiler, for example, or the Shoos, as my party likes to call it. The Despoiler is definitely on the upper echelons, and to those who worship the beast would be considered a demigod. The Despoiler represents a very worrying trend of beasts that are able to transcend their compatriots and become an almost avatar of their patron god, to the point where even the beast itself may condone its existence. Now, there are a few variations to these. For example, one that by the time you're seeing this, my party will have had hinted at, the King's Hunter. A creature born from the derangement of mind and the contorting of body. This creature was born from what's left of King Theodor's twisting psyche, his almost predatory nature as a warrior stripped away into a beast. The very shadows almost clothing it in form, and the flesh from its victims becoming its new home. This creature is very much a titled creature itself, though it's not committed an atrocity yet. Perhaps now it's out there, able to earn its own name. Perhaps it hunts those who killed its original body. Now, the final group. The Chosen. These come in the form of the Speakers, a Wendigo-like creature that has been empowered and chosen specifically by the beast. Wendigos themselves would fall into it as well, and various formerly human champions or unwilling champions turned bestial. Typically they have the telltale signs of the sort of moose-like, deer-like, elk-like head with the antlers to boot. A very Wendigo-esque appearance. Now, these creatures are a different breed. Most of them are former human, but some are actually titled creatures specifically empowered by the beast. Their evolution engineered specifically for a purpose. Sometimes these creatures can be even engineered by a powerful enough champion. The King's Speaker is a fine example of this. A former ghoul. Now, ghouls are tangentially related to the beast to a point, but they're their own kind of thing. They sit outside of the main classifications, closer to a cultist, really. So I'll get into them more in a cult video, but as far as the creatures are concerned, the King's Speaker is a ghoul that has been heightened in power, transcending itself into a creature of indomitable resilience and very deadly psionic power. This creature is certainly not to be messed with and is a very specifically evolutioned creature. One that, well, represents a further disturbing quality of the King's condition that he could force an evolution like that onto one of his subjects. A ghoulish subject, that being. Now, some of the creatures that would fall under a Chosen could fly. Flying creatures of the beast are very particular. The reason being is that their rampant, crazed evolution typically prevents flight. But the beast can force it. Some of these creatures even look almost perfect, like they were always meant to look like this. Now, the party hasn't encountered such creatures yet, but they're out there, deep in the darkest parts of the world. Perhaps one day they'll meet them. King Theodor himself would be one such chosen. A once great leader, tricked into worshipping the beast, and before he realised it, his own sanity had betrayed him, becoming a contorted monster in his own right, born of his psyche, now born of flesh. He himself, a bloated man, an abomination, leading a frenzied, hungry court of ghouls underneath his own castle, a blight in his own nation and a focal point for beasts. Perhaps, if not dealt with, he may very well have been a threat to his entire nation. Or may still be. Who knows? Perhaps he can no longer truly die. Perhaps many of these creatures simply are recycled. There are signs that many similar archetypal creatures exist. There are more than one Blighter Golgotha after all. Maybe there's more than one Despoiler of Vilkavir Valley. Perhaps the King's Speaker is not the only one. There are more Horrors of Ulbrich, and so on. So who's to say that the cultists have found a way to make more? and other horrors to boot. Speaking of those cultists, we will get to them in their own video, as I want to focus us purely on the creatures themselves to give a very brief overview in them. If there are any of those creatures you would like to know more about, perhaps how they got their name, perhaps a bit of a short story on it, or simply you'd like to know how I come up with some of this lunacy, let me know. If you enjoyed this video somehow, then please leave a like. If you didn't, maybe a dislike. But if you do dislike it, I only ask. Let me know what I can improve. And then come back next time and let me know if I got better. If you'd be so kind. Don't have to, simply a request. Though, for anyone who would like to come back, if you wouldn't mind hitting that wonderful subscribe button. Subscribing to the channel costs nothing at all, but it does feel very good to little old me, and it would be very nice to have you back. I do stream on Twitch weekly, on Friday, Saturday and Sundays, generally. The morning and the weekend, evening and the Friday. And occasionally an extra stream now and then. But, that all being said, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Till then, ta-ta for now.